Someone asked, how come I can do a bunch of skills on the trampoline, but then when I try to do a simple lower level skill on the floor, then they get scared?
Yeah. So the floor, what do athletes call the floor?
The
What do they call it?
floor is like the worst thing that like a
Yeah.
tumbler has to get
Well,
to.
even just like the dead mat, like just that term, even
Yeah.
it's so funny to me. It's like it's the dead mat, like dead doesn't help you, the
Yeah.
worst, right? There's so much negativity around the hard floor.
Yeah.
So when I cheered, it was a treat to be able to tumble on a spring floor. So I mean, I
Mhm.
did full through to full on, like I did everything on that hard floor, and so that's what I was used to, and so it was easier for me. Like that, it was just that's if I wanted to tumble, that's what I tumbled on. But now
Yeah.
there's so many athletes who thankfully have access to safer surfaces and so many
Mhm.
different, tumble track and rod floors and spring floors and all of that, which is so much better for your body. My body hurts from tumbling on the hard floor, so that's probably a good thing. But one of the things is just getting your mind off of the dead mat, the hard floor. Even if it's a spring floor and you're tumbling on the tumble track and the rod floor, but
Yeah.
not doing it on the spring floor, it's
Yeah.
it's don't think about it's going to be hard. It's going to hurt. It's going to be tough. Like there's so much negative thinking around the surface. And when you do a skill on the tumble track, it's not that I'm doing the skill because I'm on the tumble track. It's your body has learned
Mhm.
how to do the skill on the tumble track. So your body can learn, how do you adjust? How do I run a little bit different? How do I push off the
Yeah.
floor? How do I stay on my toes a little bit more than on the tumble track, right? How do I make those shifts and learn how to do my skill on this new awesome surface? So instead of thinking it like
Mhm.
when I talk to athletes, I can tell it's almost like a step down. It's like, ooh, the tumble track is like the awesome place to work on skills. And
Yeah.
then it goes down and then it goes down. It's like, oh, the hard floor.
Yeah.
Think of it as
Yeah.
like a progression up. It's like, I'm on the tumble track. Great. Now I get to work on doing it on the floor. It's like the next level. It's exciting, right?
Mhm.
And it does hurt a little bit more and it is a little bit harder, but your
Yeah.
body adjusts and you can learn just like you learn to do it on the tumble track, you can learn to do it on the hard floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a big one because I struggled with that too when I was learning skills. I hated getting off the tumble track.
Yeah.
I didn't like tumbling really at all. So
Yeah.
that was like a big step to go from a bouncy surface down to even the spring floor. Like I just
Yeah.
didn't enjoy that process.
Yeah, and even just with what you said, like so many athletes, like I hate the dead floor. I hate tumbling on the
Mhm.
hard floor. It's like that mentality, your self-talk and the things you say and think have a direct impact on the results you see. So if you go
Yeah,
to the hard floor and you're like, I hate this surface. This surface is so hard, whatever it is, you have this belief system of this is going to be hard. This is going to be
yeah,
rough.
yeah,
I'm not good at this thing, right?
yeah,
So then when you go to work on the skill, your motivation and your energy, no matter how hard you try or how bad you want it, it's not going to be where it needs to be. You're not going to be excited and
yeah,
energized and have that it, just that motivation to do like put everything into it. Even if you're trying, it's just not the same as being in a really positive headspace. So then how are the results if you don't have 100% energy to give?
yeah,
Right? It's
yeah,
going to feel, it's like, ugh, see, I knew it would be hard, right? It
yeah,
reinforces that
exactly.
negative thinking. And so
Yeah,
just very simply, anytime you catch yourself like, I hate the hard floor, I don't want to go over here. Why is my coach making me do it here? Whatever.
yeah.
It's I get to work on it on the
Okay.
hard floor.
Yeah,
I'm excited to master this challenging surface, right? Again, the challenge
yeah,
is exciting. So there's something like that. Or even just I'm learning to love. I'm learning to
yeah.
love the hard floor. Yeah.
I think it's hard to get into that mindset or think that way when, at least when I was cheering, like the culture of like the gym or the team,
Mhm.
like most people were afraid of the floor
Yeah.
and nobody wanted to like go to the floor. Some people
Yeah.
did, but like most people were scared. So when everyone around you is scared and it's like just a lot of pressure to go on the
Yeah.
floor, then you're gonna feel that way too.
Yeah, it is. And it's really hard. Like even just I'll go in and I'll speak to teams and a lot of times I'll get there early to set up for seminars or workshops and I listen. And as
Mhm.
people land, it's just a common, it's almost like the trendy or cool thing to do. It's like when you land a tumbling class, like that was ugly. Ooh, my feet were like I mean, even
Yeah,
sometimes before they've landed the skill, they're walking off saying like, ooh, something bad about the
yeah,
skill. Right. And they do that about dead floor too. And so I think even just like just set the tone, be a leader on your team, even if you're the youngest person on the team, just start a new path, because there are so many more mental blocks happening. Like more and more, I think there's more pressure on the kids. I've had athletes as young as 5 years old reaching out to me, dealing with mental blocks because it's not fun for them. And they just started like
Yeah.
2 years ago, right?
Hmm.
And so
Yeah.
that's sad. And I think that as an athlete who is in love with their sport, I think it's a disservice to just kind of like fall into all the negative thinking and just,
Yeah.
try to elevate the team. And that's a way to be a really good teammate. That's a question I get a lot, is like, how do you be a good team? Especially if you're struggling with
Mhm.
tumbling. Sometimes you think that, well, I'm bringing my team down. But if you're the one who's like, you're doing it for yourself, but you're also doing it for the team, like being more positive, you're going to encourage others to do the same. So that's a
Mhm.
really good way to support your team. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a domino effect.
Yeah, set the tone.
Yeah.
Just because they're in a bad mood doesn't mean you have to be.
Yeah. Okay, those are good tips. Where were you when I was cheering? I could have benefited from all these tips. So if someone found this helpful, or they suffer from mental blocks or anxieties or fears themselves, then how can they work with you, or how can you help them?
Yeah, absolutely. So, the easiest way to get started is to sign up for a no cost conversation with me. So, I offer free performance check sessions, and that is a 30-minute virtual call. And the whole point of that is really to discuss, what are your goals? What do you want? What's your dream? Where do you want to be? And then where you are today. And I want to have a conversation and help this athlete see how to kind of close the gap. How do you get from where you are to where you want to be? And getting them to understand what's happening so they can let go of that frustration. That's really helpful. And what are some steps they can go ahead and start taking to move forward? So that's something I offer. It's called a performance check session. You can get signed up for it at mgpcoach.com/performance check session. And we'll put the link below this video. We'll include it somewhere, so that they can get access and get signed up for that. Spots are limited, so if they want to get signed up, if this is interesting, absolutely go ahead and get signed up, please. But it's a great conversation. I spend about 20 minutes with the athlete, then do a parent recap at the end for the last 10 minutes. And it's no pressure, no obligation. It's just, I just want to help you, talk to you, give you some things to think about, give you things to consider maybe you haven't before, so that they can move forward in their skills. And then if they found it helpful and they want to know more about what the programs look like and what maybe the best next step would be for them, then at the end of the conversation, then we'll talk through those options together.
All right, that's a good option.
Awesome.
And I know
Thank
you
you.
also have mental coaching or other courses available too, right? And free trainings.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got tons of resources on my website. So if you go to mgpcoach.com, that is where you can find a lot of different resources. Also, we have a course. So I have a 12-week Mind Over Mental Block course that's available. We are going to be adding in some Q&A, office hour, like more live coach sessions. So to make sure that as you're working through the content and the curriculum and my 6-step Mind Over Mental Block process, as you work through that every week, you have an opportunity to ask your questions in person with a coach, one of my expert mental coaches. So that is an option. And then we're also going to be starting small group classes here in the next little bit. So keep an eye out for information on that. So lots of ways to get support from us. Just get in contact with us however you can. But a good place to start is that mgpcoach.com, our website.